This is the Duck Viper V2 and it has character, and I can't say that word without going over the traits that define this character. Skipping those would be like someone complimenting you that you're nice, because that person can't think of a decent compliment for you. You're such a boring individual in your empty, worthless form in which you are a husk of nothingness and despair. Living is too much effort, dying is too much of a hassle. That got dark fast. My Duck Viper V2 is also dark and edgy, with its sleek black anodization and this aggressive case. I'm not saying this case is aggressive because of its determination to give you carpal tunnel if you forego a wrist rest, but its aggressiveness comes down to these beautifully crafted sides. Unlike some keyboards which use feet to raise the keyboard and give an angle, the whole bottom piece of the Duck Viper is a machined block of aluminum, these feet included. The only non-aggressive styling on the case are these circular holes to let out the light. In the original Duck Viper and Duck Eagle buys, there's an acrylic piece that you could add on that would fill these areas out, and that's where a circular hole would be a sensible choice for diffusing RGBs. In the second round, they weren't available to buy, and I wish instead these were rectangular slits to match the rest of the styling of the case. The top of the case does have small LED indicators to not only show you caps lock, scroll lock, and unlock, but can also be used to show which layer you're currently on. I'm honestly too lazy for all that, so I never installed any of those LEDs. The acrylic sides and LEDs aren't everywhere on this keyboard, like with most Underglow customs, but in specific areas. The acrylic strips really add to the unique styling of this keyboard. And you know what? The style points don't stop there. Looking inside, you can see the specifically cut out acrylic pieces with the notches for simple assembly and disassembly. The star of the show, though, is the acrylic piece on the bottom of the keyboard. It has cutouts for PCB components. Just amazing. The PCB is red and programming it wasn't too bad, although some minor annoyances, of course. The stainless steel plate is supported on the sides of the case. Mounted on the plate and the PCB are Inver Panda switches, and on top of the switches are GMK Hydro. The custom Duck PCB is a necessary evil for the Duck Viper. It allows you to have a beautifully symmetric centered USB port, but on the other hand, there are no replacements I can get, unlike with a normal drop-in cases like the Fiel. Personally, I understand the designers not wanting to compromise on their vision. A great keyboard deserves a great keyset, and I think GMK Hydro has found its forever home on this Duck Viper. If you're not familiar with GMK keycaps, they're thick, double-shot ABS in cherry profile. GMK keycaps are amazing, and I honestly think they're worth it. This Hydro looks amazing on this Viper. Underneath the keycaps are Panda switches, and you know what? They're not too bad. Actually, I quite like them. Plate-mounted, MX-compatible linear switches with 67-gram springs inside an awesome ivory housing. The pins at the bottom of the Panda switches are these interesting pin covers that make soldering easy, desoldering and bent pins a thing of the past. Lastly, while these switches can be opened pretty easily, the switch top remover tool doesn't really fit the sides, which is really annoying. These switches aren't the smoothest linears I've ever tried, but that's okay. These are imperfect linear switches, but I really like them. For my use, the weight on the Panda switches is just perfect and contributes to the switch feeling really good. These switches are nice enough for me to not desire wanting to change them out in the future. This board will probably start and end its life with these Panda switches. And these linear switches, they feel great on a stainless steel plate. It's a match made in heaven. Typing on the Panda switches, it's a bit hard to describe, but I'll give it a shot. When your hand glides over a block of ice, it glides nice and smoothly over the ice. But as it glides nice and smoothly over the block of ice, your hand still feels the texture of the ice. Pandas are quite similar for my fingertips. They're very, very smooth, but even as you go down, there's a small texture, very, very subtle texture to them. And this provides the character and drives the switch and keyboard. I like how Pandas feel. I love how Pandas feel. I know there were definitely some QC issues with Pandas in round 1, but hopefully they should be addressed in the next batch, in the next run. The stabilizers are Zealencios Stabilizers, except for the spacebar where I used cherry housings for the Zeal stab inserts because of clearance issues between the screw-in stabs and the acrylic bottom piece. They all feel pretty nice, but I'd expect that considering Zealencios Stabilizers do cost quite a bit. My spacebar is probably louder than most people prefer, and I could probably easily fix it with a little bit of tape and lube, but it doesn't really bother me. When the group buy for the Duck Viper and Eagle V2 came through on Geekhack, it was limited to only 100 total keyboards. All 100 keyboard spots were filled in a day, despite the $310 price tag for the kits. Of the 100 keyboards, 71 were Duck Vipers and only 29 were Duck Eagles, showing you which layout was a bit more popular. If you were one of the first 50 of the order, the group buy went nice and smooth. If you're in the second batch, there was a slight delay, but fortunately I believe everyone should have their keyboards now. The Duck Viper's layout is the MX HHKB layout, whose origins come from the HHKB. The only difference is the 7U spacebar instead of Topra's normal 6U spacebar. This does push the right bottom row modifiers over a little bit, but since I've never used those keys, it's no worry to me. This layout is perhaps my favorite keyboard layout. It looks timeless and it's very practical. The other features of this layout are split backspace and a short right shift. I love this keyboard. I really do. It's the best linear I've ever owned. It's one of the most beautiful keyboards I own. I understand the appeal of this keyboard, and that makes me appreciate it even more. Surprisingly for me, this is actually one of the keyboards I type on the fastest and most consistent. This is a keyboard whose sounds I enjoy. I love the styling. Typing is just a godsend. And I definitely rank this keyboard in my top 5. It's one of my 3 60% keyboards I don't plan on ever getting rid of. And there isn't too much for me to say too negatively other than PCB annoyances with its existence and shape. But I definitely understand why they did that. And programming it was a bit on the annoying side. I have so many positives on the other hand, though, that definitely make this keyboard worth it. I really enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you for watching.